Alrighty, what is up, people of the world? It's me again, Alex Swimmer, aka AP3 Jumped, and welcome to the VLogz 112, the Loud House 2-year anniversary. Now, I hope the lighting in here is good because let me fix that actually. See if I can do anything about the lighting because it's all coming from one side of the freaking room. I'll be right back. Okay, it's actually much better. I cut my kitchen light on over there along with my living room lamp, which I moved from the corner all the way over that direction to over here. So if I want to sit over here and read like a magazine or whatever, then I'll be able to see because there's no backlight to what I'm looking at as if I was looking on my phone and reading something. But let's cut right to the chase. Where do I even begin? I don't know, to be honest, other than the fact that I really don't know where to start. I have lots of things to discuss, so I guess I'll just talk about the history of the show itself. Well, it technically made its first appearance in 2013. It debuted as part of Nickelodeon. The Loud House debuted as part of the Nickelodeon Animated Shorts program for 2013. The original pilot was actually just called The Loud House, and then later on it was renamed to Bathroom Break. And I wasn't even aware of the show's existence at all at the time, because back then my favorite cartoon was My Little Pony. And so yeah, 2 years later, The Loud House's very first regular episode was produced in 2015 and released in Comic-Con of that same year. As you all know, that episode was called Left in the Dark, and both episodes were pretty good introductions to all the characters. Although Lisa had no lines in the original pilot, and that was a little weird, but whatever. And also the animation styles for both of those episodes were very different compared to how the show is now with its current animation style, which the current animation style wasn't even adopted until the second episode, Get the Message, which was produced, which was, I'm guessing was produced in like late 2015, because these episodes take like 6 to 7 months to produce. I still think 10 months sounds like way too long. I know animation takes a very long time, but I feel like 7 months at most, not upwards to almost a year. I feel like that's a little bit fabricated. But still, it takes at least 6 to 7 months to produce a single 11-minute episode. Or a 22-minute episode, depends on. I'll get to that later. So yeah, the very first episode, it was released not as a 15-minute segment, but released as a whole half-hour episode with both segments in one, like how episodes should be premiered. But I've already ranted about that in the past. But yes, two years ago on this day, it premiered on Nickelodeon at 5 o'clock, and it managed to beat SpongeBob in ratings within its first month of being on the air. And I gotta say, it is because of that. It is the reason as to why Nickelodeon had so much faith in this show from the very freaking beginning. And it has been a staple series ever since. And it, along with SpongeBob, are the network's primary Nicktoons. They're the network's only Nicktoons right now. And, so yeah, and that's there's more I wanted to discuss about the actual history of the show and about the actual production, but my throat was getting all I couldn't talk because my throat was so freaking dry. It's like 85 degrees outside today. So yeah, that's why I just stopped talking right there. But yes, Nickelodeon has always had faith in this show since day one, and it really shows. No pun intended. But So there have been 2 full seasons so far. Season 3 is still out. Seasons come out since The Loud House did premiere, and during like the end of the fiscal year, it has become a year-round show. Its seasons come on year-round, and season 4 has been confirmed, luckily, and within all this time, lots of great things have happened for the show. We are getting a movie in 2020, or at some point. I'm hearing rumors that the has been, the production for the movie is at a halt right now, but so it might not come out in 2020. But we're getting a movie. We're getting a movie at some point. I highly doubt it'll be canceled because Nickelodeon won't let that shit happen. The fans won't let that shit happen either. But we're getting a movie, which was announced not even only a little over a year after the show premiered. That's freaking crazy. Not even SpongeBob got its first movie announcement. Not even SpongeBob got its first movie announcement a year after it came on the air. And then we're even getting, I don't know when this will happen, but we're even getting a spin-off for the show titled Los Casagrandes, if you didn't guess, is going to be based off of Ronnie Ann's family, the Casagrandes. So it's going to star all of them. So that sounds really enticing. And the fact that the show has already been, the fact that the spin-off series for The Loud House has already been announced. And aside from the actual TV show, there are even more ways to enjoy the show officially. Such as all of these graphic novels right here. So yeah, the inspiration of the show was based off the fact that, well, I guess I'll talk about him again. It was created by Chris Savino, who's been in the animation industry for as long as I've been alive. He's worked on pretty much every damn cartoon that I've watched, for the most part. And it wasn't until The Loud House to where he actually became a show. The Loud House was actually Chris Savino's first very own creation, and all by himself. And he put a lot of himself into this series. The fact that the show stars such a large family is actually based on his very own family. He was in a family with 5 boys and 5 girls, and all the females had L names, and which is why all the Loud family members, except for Rita, have L names. And the art style is based off the fact that it is based off of a Sunday comic strip art style, and which stems from the fact that Chris Savino loved comic strips such as Peanuts and Pogo and pretty much any comic strip you can think of. This show's art style was based on, and I gotta say, it really, really works for the show. One thing I forgot to mention earlier in the video is that the show was originally going to star bunny rabbits, starring one boy named Warren and a family with 25 sisters, and a best friend who was actually a beaver named Danny, who would go on to be Clyde. And that's a very interesting origin for a show like this. And one executive at Nickelodeon suggested to Chris Savino to consider making the Loud family human, and that's what wound up happening, of course. And it wound up being, Chris Savino, in his own words, said it wound up being the best decision for his show, in order to make it more relatable. And I'm gonna give you a random fun fact early. The show was originally going to have 22-minute episodes. All of its episodes were originally going to be 22 minutes. Because you rarely ever see PG shows have 22-minute episodes. The only ones I can think of off the top of my head are Danny Phantom and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Those are about the only ones. And I guess a lot of Disney Channel animated shows, but You don't really see that sort of thing. But the show decided to cut that in half with the crew decided to cut that time in half to 11 minutes per episode for the most part, and they made it work. Now over time the show would go on to have well, it's had 2 half-hour specials thus far. And it's going to have a lot more half-hour specials, and those usually are the big granddaddy episodes. They're usually the best episodes in the series. They're some of my favorite episodes. I can tell you that. So, I think that covers it with that. Now, I've already talked about this already. Only very briefly, but I'm gonna talk about it again. I used to respect Chris Savino a lot as an animator, as a person in the animation industry. But after his scandal, after that happened, I was in shock. I was just taken aback by it. I thought the show would be doomed without him, but then I realized the show will be just fine without him, and it's a shame he had to wind up being a dipshit. But sometimes this happens. By the way, he was one of the first people involved in that whole slew of sexual harassment scandals that happened back in the fall of last year. So I'm done talking about that, but even though we did wind up turning out to be a dipshit, his show was one of the best things that has ever happened to me, which I'll touch on later on in the video. Damn it, my neck is still killing me, but oh well. What can you do? Good riddance to him, I guess. Anyways, let's move on. So that is it with the origins of the show. I want to remind you guys how many people are actually in this show that a lot of people recognize. This show is filled with a lot of people, and in other words, everyone that is on this show is from something. Like, I'm going to start from the very beginning. Sean Ryan Fox, the very first voice of Lincoln Loud, he would wind up being on Henry Danger, even though I don't give a shit about this TV show Henry Danger. A lot of people don't. But I still respect Sean Ryan Fox himself for being the first voice of Lincoln Loud. And his second voice, Grant Palmer, he was previously seen in the new Little Rascals movie. And Colin Dean, Lincoln's third voice actor, he's well known in Over the Garden Wall. A lot of fans probably recognized him from that. I personally never watched that show, but anyway, Clyde's voice actors, he's had 2 now as well. Khalil Harris, he was on Blades and the Monster Machines and the Think Like a Man movies. I didn't watch those either. I watched Blades and the Monster Machines with my little sister, but not the live action films that he was in. Andre Robinson, I think even he has been on some. He has had some roles in the past too. I think he's had some minor roles in American Dad. I forget what else Andre Robinson has been in, but all the voice actors are great, and I'm just going to hurry up and keep going. Lori Loud, Catherine Tabor, best known for being on Star Wars: The Clone Wars, playing the role of Princess Leia. Let's see, Liliana Mumi. Liliana Mumi, Lenny's voice actor, was in the Santa Claus 2, the Cheater by the Dozen movies. So yeah, Cheater by the Dozen, that was Liliana Mumi's first franchise in which she starred in a large family, so that's very interesting. And Nika Farman, Luna's voice actor, she's been in lots of stuff. She's a pretty prevalent voice actor in the animation industry. Some of her roles include Six the Badger from Sonic the Hedgehog, Adam Wine from My Gym Partner's a Monkey, and moving on, Christina Puccelli at the voice of Luann Loud. She was on a show called Alan Gregory. I never watched that. She's had some other roles in the animation and video game industry. I think she also has roles in the Metal Gear Solid franchise, some of the more recent games like 4 and 5. And Jessica DeChico, the voice of Lynn Loud Jr. and Lucy Loud. She is a very prevalent voice actor. She's been in lots of shows. She's been on Adventure Time, Gravity Falls, The Buzz and Maggie. Need I even go on? But let's see who's next. Grey Griffin. Now you all know who she is. If you've watched any cartoon before, you know exactly who Grey Griffin is. Where do I even start? The franchise is Daphne Blake. From Scooby-Doo, Mandy, Green Adventures of Billy Mandy. She's been on The Fairly Odd Parents, Danny Phantom, almost all Butch Hartman shows. Unikitty, most recently. Grey Griffin, yeah, she's one of the greatest voice actors that there is, and she's one of the first voices that I recognized like instantly when I watched the show for the very first time. She voices Lana and Lily, and Lara Jill Miller. She's a prevalent voice actor as well. She was Juniper Lee. She is also in Doc McStuffins. She was even on the Amanda Show. Actually, that was my very first introduction to her, like way back in the day. I vaguely remember her from the Amanda Show, but she was on there. She was also on this other random sitcom I don't even remember the name of. But that's where she's from. Jill Itala, who plays Rita Loud, she also plays Karen on SpongeBob SquarePants. 2 Nickelodeon shows, 2 Nicktoons she's on right now. And Brian Stepanek, who you may also know from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. That was my first introduction to him as Arwen. So yeah, pretty much any character Brian Stepanek plays, he always winds up playing a goofball. And now in terms of other characters who voice other. Now, in terms of other voice actors who voice supporting characters or background characters, there's John DiMaggio. You all know who he is. There's Jeff Bennett, the voice of Johnny freaking Bravo, and let's see. Even Rob Paulson is involved in the show. He hasn't voiced that many characters, but he has voiced some. There's also been quite a lot of guest stars in the show too, actually. Excuse me, Wayne Brady, Malcolm McDowell, the guy from. Excuse me. The guy who plays Tetherby is from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I don't remember the actor's name, but let's see what else. People from the Brady Bunch. And Jennifer Coolidge. There's been lots of guest stars. I don't have time to list them all right now, but this show has such a large cast of characters in it, and a large cast of well-known people. Like I said, everyone that's on the show just about is from something, and that I find is really cool. Now. My personal thoughts on the show, just now getting to my own thoughts, well, I honestly gotta say, The Loud House, now, I wasn't into it right away, but when I first, okay, let me back up a little bit. When I first saw the promos, I heard my little sister humming the theme song, like, what is she singing? And I come over to see the TV, I come over to see the promo, and it didn't. I wasn't interested right away, but the thing that caught my eye from the very get-go, the moment I laid my eyes on the show, was the art style. And Lincoln's white hair looked really weird to me back then, but over time I started to get used to that. And what else was I gonna say? My like super initial thoughts when I like first laid my eyes on the show, I was like, ooh, a new Nicktoon. I wonder if it'll be any good. So I was basically kind of indifferent about it at first. And I didn't really start watching it until like July. Like only 2 months later. So my very first episode was actually Link or Swim. And that was a great introduction for me for the show. And the first episode that I watched that gave me a good introduction to all the characters was Under Pressure. That's the episode where I got to learn about all the characters' personalities. And that feels like a better introduction than what the pilot episodes did. Maybe, I don't know. That's entirely subjective, but that's just me. But yes, I do feel like I got, even though I didn't get into the show right away, I still feel like I got into it at just the right time, like right in the middle of the summer of 2016, and I made it my mission to watch every single episode. And once I started really watching it on a regular basis, I was instantly hooked. I've been hooked ever since, and I gotta say that this show has definitely been, it definitely is the best thing that has happened to me within the past few years. Because as much of the shit show that 2016 was for absolutely every fucking buddy, The Loud House was my silver lining. There was also a lot of personal shit that I was dealing with in 2016 that I was just... It was just not a fun time for me back then. However, The Loud House, it really, it not only did it make me have faith in Nickelodeon, at least for a little bit back then, but also, it honestly reminded me how to be happy once again, because like I said, 2016 was not a very fun year for me, and honestly, one of the only good things about 2016 for me was The Loud House. And it has become my favorite cartoon, my new favorite cartoon after My Little Pony and the Powerpuff Girls. So, like I was obsessed with those shows during their respective time periods, my new cartoon obsession is The Loud House. And this show has literally saved my life. It helped me through tough times when I was depressed last year, or 2 years ago. And I couldn't have asked for anything better to get me out of the funk that I was in back then. Because without this show, I wouldn't have remembered what happiness was if it wasn't for this damn show and these lovely freaking characters. So that'll be a good segue for me to talk about my favorite characters. I love every single character. Now, I never hated any of the characters at all, not even from the very beginning. However, there were some characters that were uninteresting to me at the time because their personalities weren't really fully developed yet. It was enough for me to be able to enjoy them. However, my top favorites would have to be Luann, Luna, Lucy, and Lana. Those are it's very hard for me to pick, but those are my top faves. Again, Lucy, Luann, Luna, and Lana. Because I think I love their personalities the most, and one of the reasons I love Lola Loud actually, because she reminds me of my little sister. Actually, my little sister was 6 years old when this show came out, and now she's the same age as my little sister Isabella was the same age as the twins Lola and Lana back then when the show first came out. But now she's the same age as Lucy. She along with Lucy is 8 years old. So yeah, I also love the pets too. They have their own personalities for as kind of minimalistic as they are. Oh, D. Bradley Baker. He's another person that's on here too. He voices Cliff and Charles and a lot of other characters in the show. But yeah, honestly, think that's it. I think I'm done talking. My random objects of the day were for. Oh, books are out of order. my random objects of the day are these graphic novels right here. Now, they're out of order again, son of a bitch. But I guess to summarize, like I said, this show has. These characters have become my favorite fictional family, and they always make me smile no matter what mood I'm in. If I'm happy or if I'm mad or if I'm depressed, I always turn to these guys to give me a smile and make me feel better. And also, I'm glad the show has evolved into other mediums. I'm glad it actually evolved into the medium that it was based on, that the art style was based on. So that is really cool. And we're getting a lot more. We're getting tons of more graphic novels on the way. We're getting like 2 more this year. We're getting a movie. We're getting a spin-off series. And we're finally getting merchandise at some point. About a month or so ago, I saw the first pieces of merchandise, and they look freaking amazing. They look great in 3D. First, there's the plushies based on their superhero forms, and then there's the actual regular figurines. Like I said, they look great in 3D. I've been dying to see what they look like in 3D. And they're also these stylized figurines that come in these little stackable houses. I haven't seen a toy like that since I was a kid. But whatever. I think I'm dead. Whatever, to the fact that whether it's new or not, it doesn't matter. the concept of that toy. Anyways, I think I am done. If you like this video, then don't forget to subscribe. And oh, my favorite episodes are both all the half-hour specials, the Christmas special, the Halloween special, and the Casa Grande's first episode. That half-hour special, I misspoke. I said there was 2 half-hour specials instead of 3. Whoops. My other favorite episodes are Link or Swim, because it was my first episode. Pulp Friction, Legends. So that's it. Let me know what your favorite episodes are in the comment section below. And hopefully this video gets uploaded in time tonight, but we'll have to wait and see. Alright, I can't wait to see what else this show brings to the table. With or without Chris Savino, this show is still pretty darn amazing. There have been a lot of bumps in the road, but like mostly in season 1. But that's only because the show was trying to. Any show when it first starts out was just trying to find its footing. And luckily, there hasn't been a single bad episode since the one that we will not mention by name that came out in March last year. So that's good, at least. But yeah, I can't wait to see what else happens with the show. And I'm very excited for the show's future. Very excited. Anyways, I'm Alex Swimmer, aka Through Jump. Thank you so much for watching until the end. That is it for me, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye. Let me know what your favorite episodes are, what your favorite, who your favorite characters are, why you love it, why you love the show, and alright, I gotta go. I have ice cream to eat because my throat is sore right now, but it's worth it. These guys are worth it.